here with the Miller Performark welder, and today we're going to go over how to do a dry run before you run a program. In order to do a dry run, first thing you're going to want to do is open up the door and get into the machine. Now, once inside the machine here, you can see that we have a relatively large part in here, so it's going to occupy both sides of the table. And we can pan over and see the robots on the left in the home position already. Now what we've got here is we've got the, we're going to be running program 252420B, and on the A side and the B side is going to be nothing on the machine. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go back to our controller. We're going to make sure that we are indeed in teach mode, and we've got our icon up here, the red light. Remember from the previous episode on how to load a program, we can do a window change on this thing to get it all over the place. So we're going to go click. We're going to go to open, program files, and let's find for the table, we're looking for part 252420B. There it is right there on the A side. We'll go ahead and load that. All right. Okay, now before we start this up, the first thing we're going to want to do is confirm, in fact, that our fixture is located in the correct spot. Now, every one of our drawings has a blueprint to tell you where it belongs, and so we can make sure. But just to make sure somebody didn't make a mistake, it's always a good idea to do a dry run on these. So back on the controller, what we want to do, we're in teach mode. We want to turn on the robot. We've got our program loaded, so we want to turn on the robot. The robot was already on, so now we're going to hit it again. And then there's the tracing, which is the little path steps down here. So turn on tracing. That's going to be with your F1 key. Okay, now when we did that, now I'm going to cycle this on and off, so you can see the keys will change as you turn items on and off. With this on, the tracing on, we've got two options there. We've got move forward and move backwards, along with the plus and the minus buttons. Now on the back side of the controller, we've got hand grips on both sides. So the yellow ones here, you push them a certain distance and they work. You go further and they don't work. So it's a safety lock on there, so you just want to have a light touch on there. And when you do, you're going to notice as soon as I put a light touch, the servo light will start to flash. Once I start that up, it's going to stay solid. Now I'm going to hold down my move forward button. It's going to give speed range. I'm just going to hold down the plus key on this, and the robot's going to go through each cycle movement. It's going to stop at each endpoint of the program, and I'll just release my thumb, place it again to continue. Now I'm going to cycle this through here. I'm going to drop this screen out of the way a little so you can see the robot. Okay. Now the first thing I'm seeing there is I'm looking here, it's going to start welding, and we're in the wrong spot. So if I go in with the camera, I can see there that it's going to start stitch welding along this seam on the back side of this. So we're in the wrong spot. The operator has probably got this loaded up one hole off on the table. So we're going to stop right now and make a quick adjustment on that. Now that we've got the table readjusted, I can then just hold down one of these halfway so you feel a detent, turn back on my servo, and I'm going to cycle back through this program again, get the robot back. Now I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the robot coming in. Okay, now we're at our first point our first point of weld. So what we want to check right there, the next move down here is going to be a weld move. So let's see where it's going to start on the tip. So coming in here on the tip, we can zoom in and see that the wire is right in the corner of where we want for the tack, so we're good to go. Now that we've verified the first tack weld, I'm going to go ahead and start this back up. Remember the move? And then while holding that down, we're going to hit the plus button. We'll see it drag over. It stopped. I'm going to release my thumb, go back to the next one. It stopped. I'll do the same. Now I'm going to stop and go check the machine. The wire looks good. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Now I'm going to reach in here and check the backside. Okay, it looks pretty good there. I'm going to keep cycling it through. Now the speed of the robot in the dry run is not going to be as fast. You're limited to how fast the robot can move when the door is open. See, every time it's going down to the next line. And you can see the light on the top is when I'm doing that. I'll zoom out here a little. So my left hand never comes off the this button here. And I'm just toggling back and forth. I'll lift my thumb up so you can see that I'm really lifting it up. Now the wire does appear to be a little bit far. There's a couple things I can do to this. I can change the tip to see if the exact distance is the same, because as you move around, the wire will go in and out a little bit, so you won't get an exact measurement. But on the, I'm going to just do a run on this and see how the first part looks as is before making any changes. There, now the robot's back in the home position. Now what I'd like to do is I am going to start this again. So one way to start it again, just so I can show you a quick change. So then we're going to go back to, I can simply just turn off the robot. Right there, it's on, now back off. Now I can scroll back up to the top of the program with my thumb wheel. So we'll go here, using the thumb. It says retry because I got a little bit ahead of myself. Turn the robot on. The tracing is still on from last time. So I'm going to cycle it back through again. What I'm going to do now is show you how to make a quick adjustment. And we're going to do it on the back side. So I'm going to cycle it through the first couple moves here and get the machine where it's tacking up the back side so we can make an adjustment. Okay, now that we've got the robot back to this side, I'm going to go into where I want to start. Okay, now let's take and zoom in here for a second. Okay, now that we're zoomed in on the tip, I'm going to go over a couple things here. First, zoom back out so we can look at the control. Okay, down at the bottom here, you've got a mode here. I'll show you on that. So you've got the mode. Now this key, soft key, corresponds to that. So right there, so it says delete. You see where it says delete? If I do anything, it's going to delete that move. There it's going to add a line item, and there it's going to change a line item in the blue. Okay, so what we're going to do then, I'm going to go ahead and just move my robot around. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to turn off the tracing steps, and that gives me back a coordinate system over here on the left. So now that I've got a coordinate system, I can move my robot around, and if it's not the coordinate system I like, I can change it by doing a window change. Going right up here to the motion, and now I've got different coordinate systems. I can go by joint, Cartesian, and tool, and in each of those you can experiment will change how the robot moves. Now I can window change back to where I was. Okay, it takes me right back down to the line I was at. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jog the robot around a little. Okay, so I can go Y or Z, any of these moves all around here, any of those by using the corresponding soft keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jog, so I would hold down a key. So Z, for example, I'm going to hold down the Z. It brings up a speed, and I can just rotate my dial here to get it where I want. Now, you see where it says medium? I can change my trigger on the right trigger, and that changes that speed that it's going to move when I rotate the dial. And the trigger is right on the back side of the control. You've got a right one and a left one, kind of like a little joystick. So when I grab that one, it's going to change where it goes. So I'm going to leave it medium. And then now I'm just going to zoom in so you can see the item actually move. Right there, so you can see it moving around. I'm going to put it right about there. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to make a change. So what I did is I let my hand off. Zoom back out so you can see the controller. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter. And I brought up a new menu. Now on this menu, I can make changes if I want. I can go to move, weld, I can change my speed, everything else. Now if I just leave this alone, and I do window change, and I accept this with my thumb wheel, that just overwrote that mode, and it says, do you want to shift the section? And I'm going to say no. I would want to shift a section, for example, if the whole part moved, and I wanted to change the whole part at once, but I'm just going to go in and change each weld, so we can do it that way. And if you made a mistake, so if I were to hit this again, I can hit the enter key to start it. And if I said, you know what, I don't want to mess with this, I can just go back to cancel, hit my thumb wheel, and cancel right out of that. Now to finish this up, we're going to go ahead and run the robot backwards to get it back to its home position. Since this is a really long program, you do have options of going forward to finish it or backwards. I'm only a few moves into this, so I'm going to go backwards out of this so I don't have to run the entire dry run all over again. Since we've already proved it one time, I just wanted to go back again and show you a little advanced trick on how to fix it if the torch is not coming up exactly right. Okay, and to back the machine out of this program, since that's the shorter way to go, I turn on my servo. My robot is on. I don't know if you can see the green light there. And I'm going to turn on my tracing. But now instead of the forward move, I'm going to use the backwards move. So I hold down the backwards button and the plus. Or the minus. Backwards and minus. So then we'll start going backwards. And the robot's going to start going backwards out of the program. There you go. So now I've got the machine back home and we're ready to go. So the next step from there would be for you to go ahead and load up your program, and using one of the other videos that I provided. Now that the dry run's complete, one other step that you can do, another shortcut, is you want to go ahead and close out like I mentioned in one of the other videos. So we'll go ahead and close this. Save the data. We're going to go ahead and save it since I did make a change that I showed you. If I made the change, we didn't want to keep it, we would say no right now. Cancel if we want to go back into the program to make more changes. So now I've got everything closed out. I'm going to go into auto mode. It's telling me to push my switches, which we mentioned before on the front of the panel. Now one other little trick here is this button here. We can do a dry run and turn off the welding as well, but this is going to be a high-speed dry run. Cycle it around and we're going to see it do a high-speed dry run without doing any welding. After we've done another dry run, I'm going to go ahead and turn this feature off, and now the next dry run we do will actually have the welding.